Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel, it's Yoon. Here we are finally filming and sharing what I read in May. And since I figured it's been so long, especially seeing when my last reading wrap-up video was, I figured I would also do my recent favorites that I've kind of accumulated from the last sit down video I've had with you guys. So let's just get into the video. And yeah, I'm actually very happy that I can do a what I read in May because the reason why I haven't had a reading wrap up in so long, literally over a year, is because I hadn't read a lot per month. I had like 1 to 2 books a month, and I think because of just the mentality of being in a reading slump, even though I managed to read the books, I never ended up having a very strong reaction, whether that was either positive or negative. So I didn't feel like it was really worth making a video if I was just gonna be very blah about it. So but now I had a pretty good reading month in May, so I'm very excited to share with you not just books, things I enjoyed reading, but the fact that I was able to read 7 books. But before we get into that, see that I am holding something from my microphone? It is an acrylic figure of Sino from Genshin Impact, who's one of my favorite characters. I had this really, in my mind, genius idea to use I don't have a lot, but I do have some acrylic figures at home, and I do love looking at them. Like, that is why I get them. But I also wanted kind of to do more with them. And I've also been looking for a microphone holder, like those fun figurines that you see on TikTok of people talking to a microphone and the mic is attached to something very cute or fun. And mine is a clip. It's not magnetic, and I feel like if it's too close it gets kind of like crackly. I think you can tell now. And it seems to capture my voice pretty well even at like a lower angle. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what better way to share my fandom interests than using the figures, the acrylic standees that I have as my microphone holder? Because I was also wanting something decently long to like hold it comfortably at a low angle, but also that it can still, get my voice. I don't have anything until I thought of this. I only really have acrylic standees from Genshin, I'm not gonna lie. But now I'm like, I have like so many more possibilities of what other acrylic figurines I can get. I only really plan on getting like 2 more because I also don't have space to display them. I would like to get a Sunday figurine. Sorry, we're getting sidetracked. I would like to get a Sunday figurine because I love Sunday. He is my favorite character in Honkai Star Rail, and I have a story time about that. I will get to that later. But I really want a Sunday acrylic standee. It's so crazy though because I have not been able to find him in Korea, and I don't know if it's because he's like so popular that it's sold out, or if like it's just not being brought into Korea for some reason. I actually have to see if the place where I bought a Sunday merch online might have it, but it's been very hard to find it. But so that's definitely on my wish list. Anyways, back to the point of this video. Let's get into it. I don't have a lot, but I definitely want to share it. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was a close one. I thought it was like lost. It would have been a mess if it was lost somewhere. But yeah. So Sino will be following me for today, and then maybe next video it'll be one of the other ones I have, which will be a surprise. But yeah, so I don't have a lot of favorites. We'll throw the story time like near the end, but I won't end it with that because it's quite a doozy. But first, one of the recent favorites that I have, and this one is mainly, I haven't used so much of it, but I went to the Play pop-up at Anime Hongdae. It was crazy because that The coasters had sold out so quickly. It was currently on a pre-order status, and I managed to get the notification to pick mine up in like May, obviously. And it's random, so I was like, oh my gosh, I would love Yejun, but obviously it's not like a guarantee. But I managed to get him. Oh my gosh, I was so happy when I got that because his cookies were sold out, as far as I was aware. And I think I had lost some sort of 50-50 random thing the day before or something. I don't know if it was from a game, or I think it was also because for this comeback, I barely got any Yejun photo cards. I don't know. I think if I got any, I only got like one. And I had a lot of repeats. I either had repeats or I didn't get any Yejun. So it was quite a Yejunless pull comeback. So I was very happy to get at least a coaster. Yeah. The other thing is actually the Trader Joe's mini tote bag. Call me basic. I accept that title because this is a really nice tote bag, okay? It is super popular in Korea. I feel like you'll see almost everyone wearing or carrying a Trader Joe's tote bag, whether that's the big size or the small size. I do have the big size, but I love the mini size so much. It's so convenient. I use this a lot when I go to campus and when I'm just gonna, because I have a very specific backpack I like to use, but that backpack can't carry too much. And sometimes when I'm like taking lunch to campus, or I've got library books, or there's just some items I want to have easier access to pulling out instead of like taking off my backpack, pulling it off. I just put it in here, and because it's so small, it still can hold everything I put in here, but it also doesn't make it so annoying to have to position or figure out how to like keep it in the tight space of like bus seats or the subway seats. So I really like the compact size, and yeah, it's just so nice to have. So I've been really loving the tote bag. And the next thing is kind of a set, or like I bought them as a set and I've been enjoying them as a set, but I also really enjoy them separately. And it is my Midori notebook. Just gotta It's my Midori notebook and my Pilot Kakuno fountain pen. I bought these fairly late last year. I want to say, you know what, I'm not gonna say because I can't really remember why I wanted to get it, but I was wanting to get like a fountain pen, and then I learned about Midori's, and then I wanted to get into journaling again. So I just went ahead, bought it, and I fell in love. I have so many Midori notebooks right now. It's, I mean, they're all going to be used like for sure, and they've all already been decorated, but I just went kind of crazy. I blacked out, and I have so many Midori's. And since then, I haven't bought Midori's. I went a little too crazy in the beginning because there's like no need to have so many unused ones or like brand new ones. But I have a lot of Midori notebooks, and since then, I have also been able to get a few more fountain pens and also fountain pen inks, which is really fun. I recently just kind of cleared up a little tray thingy I got, and I have my fountain pen bottles out in the open, and I like looking at them. I managed to get. I currently have one, two, three. I think I have four fountain pens. I've managed to get four fountain pens. Two of them, well, one of them, sorry, there's like a plane run. One of them was a birthday gift, and my name is engraved on the cap, which I love. Another one I won in a very small, like a game competition. It was the reward for winning the game, and I bought the other two. One of them is my first, not my first ever, but my first foray into the fountain pens, the Pilot Kakuno F nib, and then I got an M nib. I still love the F nib so much. It's still probably my favorite pen out of the ones I have. I am just a huge fan of how this feels when I write on paper. I also love the nib thickness. I feel like it's just the perfect thickness for me personally. But I just love seeing the color shine on paper and just the thickness and the way it flows out of this pen. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and I'm very happy because I actually found a notebook that can handle this pen and ink. So I can actually use it on a more daily, normal basis, and that was a very fun discovery. And for my Midori notebook, I am a fan of the cream color. I love the paper. I love the way fountain pen inks sit on it. And honestly, even though it's a paper cover and you can get like the plastic, and even if you don't, it is a lot cheaper than the Term journals because the Term journals are so expensive in Korea. I don't know if it, you know, was because the price overall rose, but that used to be, I think, like 28,000, which was already pretty expensive. The last time I had seen it, it was what? I don't know. I feel like for some reason my mind is like it was 40,000 the last time you saw it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, so I'm still wrong. It's like 32,500. It's not that much of an increase, but it's just not worth buying that when I can get like 2 to 3 Midoris for the price of one term. And the paper is just as good. And personally, I love the way the stickers look on the cream cover of the Midori notebook. So I kind of have more fun decorating that one as well. So either way, a change that had to happen, but a delightful change nonetheless. And I do want to share with you like my entire Midori collection, or like I guess more my journal collection that is mainly Midori. For the second to last thing of my recent favorites before we get into the story time and then we finally get into what I read in May, my baggu bag. I will also do a what's in my bag because I love seeing videos like that and I would like to do one of my own. But I have here the Crescent crossbody bag. Is that what it's called? The largest size in green juice. And I think green juice is so pretty. I love fun colors. So my sister got me the Baggu green juice one and I love it so much. I I got this like December, and ever since then I was like, how on earth did I manage to use the mango, I don't know what it's called, mango juice, mango puree, the mango one that I have, which is the medium size, because I'm like, I don't know why I thought I could be a smaller bag girly when I'm clearly meant to be a big bag girly. So I have never stopped using this since I got it. Yeah, I love this bag. It's just really nice, and it's not waterproof, but it's not like it's a material I have to worry about getting too dirty, getting too wet. That would make it like beyond repair. So I really enjoy it. So I will do a what's in my bag later, and we'll get more into this peak of keychains. Oh, it's totally covered up now. This peak of keychains you might see here because I'm excited to show that too. Fast. Now let's finally get into the last thing that has a story. As a story, because I also have a question I need to ask you about that thing. But I have with me two claw clips. Let me get them closer up. I have been into claw clips in general, and I've been using these quite a lot recently, especially when I go out. And this one is the Play one. It says their title track, which is Born Savage. Really nice. It gets all of my hair very easily and it grips it pretty well. I do feel like, I don't know if it's because my hair is heavy and this is kind of heavy, and both of them being heavy, it does start to kind of fall down after a few hours, but I don't have a problem just redoing it. It's just something to say. Now, you had a glimpse of the other one, but without without me saying anything, just think and then let me know what your first thought was when you saw this one, and then yeah. Okay. If you saw someone wearing this in public, what would you think? Like, genuinely be honest, and please share with me your answer in the comments, cuz this is my question that I mentioned I wanted to ask to you guys. This is something I need to know because the story time with this is that I went to a book event, the DB Books book warehouse sale and then the rooftop swap after. And it was hot. So I, near the end, I tied my hair up and I put this on. And then I had a friend with me that day, and then we were on our way home. We were walking to the subway. There were a group of girls that I recognized from the rooftop swap that was within our general vicinity, also going to the subway. I can't remember if the subway stairs are upstairs. If we have to go upstairs, I think we have to go upstairs. But we were going upstairs at one point. Me and my friend were in front of the group of girls, and I'm gonna tell you my why I assume this was targeted at me. Not like too bad. Don't like that sound intense. It's not that intense. But as I'm talking to my friend, we're like looking up I don't know, the way home or something. I hear quite clearly behind me that's giving homophobic. I'm like, ugh. And the thing that has always been a concern in the back of my mind is just slapping me in the face in that moment. I'm not very like I'm not extroverted or very social, and I was also like in the midst of talking to my friend. So I didn't turn around even though part of me desperately wanted to turn around and ask them, "Are you talking about my claw clip?" Not even confrontationally, just be like, "Are you talking about my claw clip? I need to know." Because look, I if you thought the same, I get it. Okay, I get it. Because this does give it's very religious coded. The thing is, this is fan merch, okay? As I mentioned before, Sunday is one of my favorite game characters, not just from Honkai Star Rail, but one of my favorite game characters. And when I saw this claw clip being sold by an artist, I was like, that's so cute. I want one. So I had the opportunity and I got it. And I love it. First, I love this clanging thing. I just love that. Second, obviously I'm gonna love fan merch inspired like based on my one of my favorite characters. And I have not worn this in public a lot because I did kind of have that thought in the back of my mind. The rooftop swap was probably the first time I like actually wore that out and about. So the one time I wore that out and about and I hear it's giving homophobic, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh. Is this seen as homophobic? Oh, I can't. Oh yeah, so I might never wear this in public again. If I do, it'll be again contained public spaces. It will not be out in the open. So that was it for, well, that was not it because it was a pretty long part. But that was it for the section of my recent favorites. So let's get into what I read this month, finally. Like I said, I read 7 books. Ooh, very happy about that. That's honestly a really big jump from my average the past year. Uh, I think because, let's see, I don't know if I'll be able to keep that average, but it's the fact that I reached that number that makes me very happy. Like I said, I've been reading mainly like 1 to 3 books a month. 3 is like maximum, and that's only if it was somehow a decent reading month. Like I said, I've been kind of in the slump since then. A really weird slump too. But let's get into it. So I read 7 books, like I mentioned. I don't think I'll shut up about that anytime soon. And 3 of them are manga volumes, and 4 of them are books. 2 of them, I'll just name drop them and then we'll move on. I read the Sympathizer, and I read the Woman Warrior. I think it's Womanhood. Wait, the Woman Warrior Memoir Among Ghosts. Ghosts. The Woman Warrior. So, my manga volumes. I read Ichi the Witch, Volume 1, and I said that really weird. Phantom Busters, Volume 1 and 2. I loved Ichi the Witch. It's so good. It was a reread, but it was such a good reread. Volume 2 actually, the hold for Volume 2 actually came out, so I'm very excited to get to that. I bought the physical copy for a friend's birthday, and I reread it because I was looking for misprints. I'm not gonna lie, I think they watched this video. I think they watched some of my videos, so they'll probably see this. I got swept up and I kind of forgot why I was reading it, so sorry about that. I tried to not open it as much to like make it look pristine, but I was looking for misprints because I've had some orders from Aladdin arrive as misprints, but then I also realized later, because this is like my fifth time trying to film this video, on one of my previous attempts to film this video, I realized, and I had forgotten, that Aladdin doesn't do exchanges for overseas orders. So even if I had found a misprint, it wouldn't have mattered because I couldn't exchange it. But I'm glad there were no misprints. Either way, I read it, I really enjoyed it, and I really hope my friend enjoys it too. Let me see if I can give a premise that's not too long. One thing I'm gonna try to speak into existence is get better at giving book premises without taking too much time. Let's try this. It is a fantasy action adventure shonen manga. I Side note, I really think it's gonna get an anime adaptation because honestly, like I said, the story starts off so well and it has such a solid story. Fantasy world. In this fantasy world, there are a group of entities, or there's like a race of magical beings called magiques. I'm gonna pronounce it like that because of the way it's spelled, but also to differentiate when I say magic, because they're spelled with a K. They're known as magiques, and they, like I said, they possess magical powers. They just all of a sudden they're just born into existence on Earth, and magiques are able, women are able to, what's the word? Obtain. Thank you. Who am I thinking? Are able to obtain the power of the magiques by passing an individualized trial. And the first witch, and like now they're known as witches, but the first few witches that came into existence, that like obtained the power, they obviously like very simple. The first, I think one of the first ones they mentioned is like the water magic. The water magic gave a trial of like having to drink a certain amount of water or use a certain amount of water, and once the woman passed that, the water magic granted that witch, or that woman, now a witch, the power of water, the magic of water. So there are ways to like peacefully obtain the power of magics, but recently in the time period of the manga volume, there's currently a rise, or like a very strong group of the magics that are categorized as human hating, and they like wreak havoc, they destroy villages, they kill people just for the sake of it. It's in the name, like they're human hating. And so the witches currently are kind of protecting humanity. They're defeating these human hating magics and getting their power. And as of now, witches have only been women, and as of now have only been able to be women. This is kind of like the slightest issue I had with the manga, where our main character is a boy and he's somehow the exception. That's like the only slightest thing I was a little iffy about, but I am acceptable of him being the exception because I actually really, really love his character. I think he is such a good character, such a good protagonist, and I do like the way setting the dynamic, I suppose. So basically, we kind of pan into our main character known as Ichi. He is an orphan. He's been abandoned when he was very young, and he's been living alone and surviving on the mountains since then. He's not he's not like feral. He's really well adjusted in terms of societal terms. So, etc., etc. He does have a very interesting mentality, and like kind of the reason that lets him become, like, obtain a power of the magic. But he has a very, how do I say, natural survival mindset. So like, if you trigger his killing instinct bells, then for him after that point it's just fair game between whoever triggered it and him, because at that point it's natural. Like it's hunting or fighting for survival, and whatever happens was just a natural way that was going to happen. It's very hunt or be hunted for survival. He has a very different approach to battling and like fighting. So that's what's the word? Interesting, kind of very different aspect of his character is what makes him very like stand out once he becomes a witch and he joins the organization to hunt these human hating majiks, and he just demonstrates a very different way of battling and fighting them than the witches have been approaching for the past hundreds of years. So I think I really killed off the premise at the end. Either way, great manga. I love the art. The like I said, it has such a strong first volume, and the characters are also really really fleshed out. I love Ichi's character. The first volume is so funny. I love his character. I also love all the other characters and the way they interact with each other. It's so funny. It's so wholesome. It's just such a strong volume. If you're looking for a new gen shonen manga with a bit of magic, fantasy, adventure, I highly recommend this one. I really hope you pick it up. It's so good. It's so good. And then to the other two volumes that I read for that were both for Phantom Busters. I definitely enjoyed Ichi the Witch the most, but Phantom Busters I see a lot of potential. Uh, the first I've heard I did hear one thing recently that makes me feel very, oh, my stomach is growling. That makes me feel very curious, where apparently it starts having a lot of fan service. So I guess we'll see when it gets to that point. But right now, we had very introductory two volumes. Both of them were very setting the stage. And let me try again the premise. I think I spoke too long on Ichi the Witch. Phantom Busters basically follows these four boys as they create and are part of a club known as Phantom Busters, and they go looking for ghosts to exorcise. Um, yeah, and they're, what age are they? High school freshmen, so 14, 15-year-old boys. And what makes it funny, or what carries the basic premise, are the characters and their friendship with one another. I think it's just they're really cute and how they're just silly boys. But what makes it funny is, so we have four boys. The thing is, three of the boys are the ones who kind of deal with the supernatural aspect, and the one of the boys can't see anything at all or has no other abilities. But then they eventually become friends. They eventually like learn about their abilities with each other, and he joins, and etc etc etc. One of the boys can't see or hear ghosts, but he is the one who can exorcise them. One of the other boys can hear and talk to ghosts, but he can't see or exorcise. And then the last boy, probably by this time you can assume, he's the only one who can see ghosts. He can't hear or exorcise them. I'm actually not sure if he can hear them. But the other two boys can see when they like keep in contact with the one who can see. So when they hold hands or they're holding on to each other, then they work perfectly as like one amazing exorcist. But when they're not, they have to find their dynamic and the synergy between the three. But it's very silly, it's very funny. The boys are very silly, they're very cute. The art is pretty good. They are very, very goofy. Just expect a lot of goofy shenanigans, even more so because the one who can exercise, he was isolated in the mountains with like his with only his family for the 14 years of his life, and he made some sort of deal to come to high school. And the deal he made is kind of the driving force for having the club in the first place. And then the other boy simply can't talk to people. I get it. Like, I feel that. But his is like really extreme. If he makes eye contact with living people, he starts vomiting and he can't stop throwing up till he like passes out. So he can't interact with people. He does manage to with the rest of the boys, but like it was a struggle. And then the third boy, he's not that bad. He's just kind of awkward, and he's always very easily and quickly misunderstood because he has scars over his eyes, and I think he looks cool and good looking, but then his demeanor, or when he starts interacting, plus the fact that he can't tell if the person's alive or a ghost, does make him like it does make him appear off-putting or like weird to other people. The fourth boy is actually fine. Like he's totally fine. He's so well adjusted socially, intellectually, everything. He is apparently the most like one of the most popular boys in the school or something, and he's like apparently really good looking. So he's fine. Um so the dynamic and the interactions and again the shenanigans the four of them get to because of the way they bounce off of each other is really funny, so silly. And yeah, that's the basic premise. I think I enjoyed volume 1 and 2. They were very introductory though, very introductory. I think so we spent the first two volumes kind of meeting the boys, starting the club. The first volume we start off with the exorcist and the one who can't see or have any abilities becoming friends, or at least getting start like meeting each other because they were both on their way to orientation, and then they get he the one who has no abilities gets tangled up with the exorcist guy. And then the latter half of volume 1 we're bringing the one who can see into the circle, and then volume 2 brings in the one who can see, who can hear and talk. And then the latter half of volume 2, we get kind of their first official club activity now that they've become friends. And then we get kind of a bit more insight into the exorcist and the first two boys that we meet. Like I said, we get into why the guy was adamant about making the club. We get a bit more insight into like his family situation as well as the very well adjusted guy's situation. And then we kind of end normally, like nothing too big, no cliffhanger or anything. So we'll see what volume 3 and 4 is volume 4. We'll see how the rest of the volumes go. But yeah, that was Phantom Busters. Very quick to read. Obviously, I feel like mangas are very easy to read. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just see how things go. Highly recommend Ichi the Witch, though. Highly recommend. Give it a try, see if it's your vibe. So there's like something in my eye. It's school life, modern, like contemporary setting, school life, supernatural ghosts. It's not. I don't think it's gory, but it can maybe some. But it is like they don't really do cute ghosts or anything like that. It's not necessarily scary either, but it's not trying to cutify the ghosts. And they are focusing more on like exorcising evil ghosts, so clearly they're not going to look the most welcoming. Yeah. So let's get into the other two books and then finish off this video. I read an e-arc and I read a danmei volume. The e-arc was Field Guide for the Formerly Villainous by Autumn K. England. I'm pretty sure it's out now. This one was unfortunately a neutral rating. If I had to rate it, I gave it my neutral rating, which is 3 stars, because I think the premise is amazing and I did enjoy the story. Like if I had to think about it objectively, I think I didn't find a problem with the writing. I thought it was still a very cute story, very heartwarming, very feel good, very healing. Yeah. So the premise is that it's kind of in the similar sense of So This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens, only in the sense that it's like a fantasy world and we're looking at this world after the end of the defeat of the big evil. And the big evil in this book is called the Enchantrix. And we're following our main character Oakland. They non-binary, I'm pretty sure they them pronouns. They are trying to find and start a new life after I think it's a few years as a brainwashed cult member of the Enchantrix. And so they're traumatized, they're tired, they just want to be able to relax, to rest, to find peace. And so they purchase a farm. They, however, have to deal with the nagging ghost of the previous owner, who makes them do things they didn't really want to for a while. So that means going out into the town, interacting with people, going to the library. Oakland kind of has some trauma, clear to deal with because the people in charge of the library are part of the group that brought down the Enchantrix, which is good, but because they were considered cult members, brainwashed or not, they were also kind of dealt with, if you catch my meaning. Before they realized they were brainwashed, a lot of them were just dealt with. So obviously a lot of trauma with seeing that happen even when brainwashed, like the memories there. And they don't want to get caught. Because there are some people that were, okay with them finding peace or like finding a life after, some were not. So they so it's kind of like the after, it's just mainly a story of healing, of connection, of community for Oakland after having such a traumatic incident. And honestly, I feel like I like kind of after the end stories, because but I'm wondering if I only like it for fan fiction and manhwa manga um format and stories, because I know if this were a fan fiction or manga manhwa, I would eat it up. I would be so into the story. But both, so This Is Ever After and Feel Guide with the Formerly Villainous didn't resonate with me. I ended up not like not liking it, but I ended up not feeling anything towards it. And for the Feel Guide, I kind of know a bit more why. And I'll get into it now. I think for Feel Guide, it was more of like personal disappointments. Again, like I said, it is a very cute story. I enjoyed the dynamics, I enjoyed the relationships. I enjoyed Oakland's journey of healing, but some of the things I expected I didn't get, and clearly that did not help. And I think for me personally, when it comes to these kinds of fantasies, the reason why I thought I would eat it up with a fan fiction is because I know the characters. I'm most likely reading in a fandom that I know and like. So seeing this kind of story with characters I already know is probably why I would like that premise. For manga manhwas, I really think it's just the art, the visuals. um, but sometimes they have like they're able to make the characters very lively from the beginning, and that's also something I enjoy. For Feel Good for the Formerly Villainous, I think my enjoyment and like attachment to the story was not created and also dampened because I did not oops sorry I did not get attached to anyone or anything in that novel. Like, not to say that the author, like the writing was so dull or neutral. Generally, not even that. And sometimes it's the most random reason why I get attached to a character, but there was nothing that made me click to a character. I didn't even click with the animal companion. And that's like at the very least, if you're gonna like something, you're gonna like the animal companion. I don't know if it was a slump. I don't know if it was, again, the personal expectations I had that wasn't being delivered. I ended up not enjoying, or I ended up not getting attached to a single character. And I think with a premise like this and a setting like this, where it's relatively calm, it's cozy, and I really think it's important, or it's a big deal, and it really impacts how much you enjoy it, depending on how much you like a character, characters, or things in the story. And I think that's really my biggest struggle with the book. Because of my lack of attachment, it was just something I read. It wasn't something I enjoyed reading, it wasn't something I hated reading, it was just something I read. I did think it was cute. Like, I can see how people would enjoy it, but personally, that just ended up really impacting my own personal reading experience. Because I have a friend who also had the E-arc. They really enjoyed it. So if you do want a cozy fantasy of healing, of like just heartwarming community and healing and like recovery, I do recommend it. Give it a try. But these are just the things that ended up making me not enjoy it. I have like two other things. We'll get into a bit more of like a technical thing that I struggled with that kind of took me out of the story. I struggled with the pacing. It wasn't slow. It was like a good pacing, but I had some struggles with like certain subplot pacings. What I mean by that, in a way that I will try not to spoil, is that certain moments, like a certain development arc or like a story plot arc that we had, it would be wrapped up so much quicker, and so much quicker than I felt like it would have. Like, from the way I was reading it and the way the story was being delivered, or like the arc or the character development was being delivered, I was starting to get like a certain impression that it would get wrapped up after like a bit more, and after we need like one more plot point. But then, contrary to my expectations, it would end up happening much sooner. But also the way it would be resolved made it felt like it was just dealt with too easily. And I was like, what? I was so thrown off. And then I felt like throughout the story at minor levels like that, moments like that would happen. Like where like the plot, the something that was being introduced ended up getting wrapped up really quickly, or like a lot quicker than I had thought, and therefore it felt like it was very easy. So just like that kind of progression, I guess, is what threw me off. And then for the oh, whoops, for the last book I read, and then this is just this is the most personal um thing that made me not enjoy the story as much either. I also kind of requested to read this arc because I wanted to read Farm Life, because I was expecting Farm Life, but there wasn't as much focus on the cozy fantasy aspect of actual farming. And I think part of it might have been because I have read some web novels, some manhwas where we actually get a focus of the character enjoying their life of farming. Like we see them feeling satisfied from, fielding their first batch of seeds, and then seeing the growth of of the produce, and feeling proud that they were able to successfully grow produce on their own. So I think when I saw farming, I was expecting to have a good amount of those scenes. We don't have a lot of farming focus. So we only kind of really got more of the community aspect, like the farmers market, the bartering, etc., but not much of the solo activity of farming. And I think another point of disappointment is just the fact that there's magical produce in this story, right? There's magical effects, or you can do magic onto your produce, onto baking. And it's the fact that we got so little attention on that. Personal disappointment, because I thought that would have been so interesting to see. Like imagine the juices Oakland can make. Imagine the smoothies. Imagine the potions. Imagine just eating it fresh with like magically grown effects of that vegetable. Like I feel like it could have been so much fun to read about a magical farm, but we barely got that. So that was just a personal disappointment of mine that I will be finishing this very long video off, I think, is the Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish Volume 3. I have said that so many times in my previous attempts to make the videos, that I feel like I'm not as tongue twisted as I have been in those videos. But I read Volume 3, and despite the rating I gave it on Goodreads and my Bookstagram, I think I am saying I will lower it to like a 2.5, because I think for some reason, I don't know why, for this danmei specifically, I have been giving all of them like 4 to 5 ratings. So okay, the thing is, for volume 3, I think it's definitely the weakest of the 4 volumes. But my enjoyment of the story is so high, I gave it a 4 stars. Realistically though, it's a 2.5 in the series. It's a 2.5 in the novel, because there's someone else on Bookstagram who we had like almost the exact same thoughts towards the volume. They rated it 2 or 2.5, and I'm like, you know what? I should do that too. I don't know why I rated it a 4. Again, I was keeping the enjoyment I've had for the past 2 volumes and my overall enjoyment of the novel itself onto the volume. I gotta change that. And like I said, I love volume 1. I think volume 1 is such a good start. It's like the best. It's like volume 1 is the epitome of the best part of the premise of the book. If you're new here or new to the genre, Basically, danmei is just known as Chinese BL. And then this one specifically, to give a premise of the overall novel and kind of a short summary to the first volume, our main character, so it's a transmigration danmei. He wakes up in the novel that he read. And the plot of the original novel is that the main couple navigate court intrigue and politics and romance to eventually kind of become the tyrant and empress at the end of the novel. The male lead, he is a prince and he goes through like the bloody, tense political in court politic intrigue stuff to become a tyrant. So he specifically becomes a tyrant. He doesn't become emperor, he becomes tyrant. And then the original main character slash person who gets together with the tyrant, they get together. But the original novel, in a sense, didn't have kind of the happiest ending because the couple ends up being together, but in a more legal, like, tyrant empress way than, like, genuinely in love with each other. Basically, in the original novel, what happens is that the protagonist of the original novel ends up falling in love with the tyrant at the end. But at that point, the tyrant has lost all love for the protagonist. So they are just at this like, pretty sad ending, especially for the tyrant. So our main character wakes up in the novel's world and he gets a system assigned to him. And I can't remember the name, but the system name has like pet in it. I feel like you can start getting it from the title and the name of the system. But the system basically is like, you are here, and my objective that I'm giving to you is that you have to change the fate of the tyrant. So keep him from becoming a tyrant and also make him happy. I can't remember the main character's reaction to that. But he's kind of like freaking out, obviously, but I think he's also like, okay, what gets him mad and makes him crash out, which I would have been there with him, is that he's sent into a fish. Not just any, well, first of all, he gets really mad about being a fish. He's like, how the heck do you want me to change this man who's kind of like destined to become a tyrant and is ruthless and make him happy as a freaking pet fish? I think one part of the novel in the beginning, he's like, I can't even wag and play fetch as a fish. He's like, I can't even do that as a fish. How do you want me to raise affection points as a freaking fish? And I think the reason why he takes it is because the system promises, if you do this first, you can go back home. And then, but to make matters worse, he's not just a fish. He's sent into the body of a fish that's literally about to be killed, cooked, and served as fish soup. So he has to get out of there ASAP. Think Little Mermaid Sebastian kitchen scene. That's him, but replace Sebastian with a gray carp. That's the main character in this moment right now. So somehow he does manage to escape, and somehow he does start to succeed in raising the affection with the tyrant character and slowly changing his fate and like his ending. And then the novel just follows kind of like our main character's journey, the really oddly golden benefits he gets through like doing mini objectives, the benefits he gets, the way we kind of follow the progression of the original plot, but obviously with the changes our main character is making. And our main character is definitely very funny. He's definitely the reason why the story is so funny and so silly and such a light and easy book to read, because honestly, he accepts his fate as a fish so fast. He, not just as a fish, as a pet fish, he adapts so quickly to the situation, and he's just so silly. Like, it's generally such a silly book to read, but that's what makes it so fun. And I loved the first volume. The second one, I don't even remember when I read it. Had fun with that too. Third volume, the main point of this video, that I actually read this month is definitely the weakest. I started reading the fourth volume. I will finish it this month. I should be able to. Also, the library hold is running out, so I need to. I'm reading the fourth volume, and immediately, I didn't get that far. Immediately, it's better than the third volume. And the biggest thing about the third volume is that we have a rather big. Oh, I forgot to mention. I should let you know this one specifically, despite not being Omegaverse, has Mpreg. I'm not gonna say anything more. If you're curious, give it a read. That's all I'm gonna say though. That's all I'm gonna say. So take with that what you will. But back onto the story. This volume just feels like a filler volume to connect like the end and the beginning of volume 3 to volume 4. Mainly because our couple gets sent out of the court to like manage the dangerous border of the kingdom. And I think because they don't really interact with, there's no court tension. It's just kind of a way for them to be lovey-dovey. Not much happens, even though the romance development is, it's like a lot is happening. So it was pretty boring. It just, because of that, it just felt so long. I kept turning the page and I was like, why am I still turning the page? I was like, I'm not done yet. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Sorry, did I start yelling in the mic? My bad. But yeah, so that's what happened. And yeah, and then we just transitioned to the fourth volume, which is the last volume. And that was it, what I read from May. Those were my favorites from the past year that I wanted to share with you guys. Again, please share with me your answers to my question regarding the clock clip. I actually really need to know. So those were my recent favorites, and these were the books that I read in May. Again, I'm very happy I read 7 books. And yeah, that was it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please share with me any favorites you have, whether that's books or, you know, if there was a book that you really hated or anything, or a book to recommend. Please share everything with me in the comments below. So I will end the video now. I will see you next video. Bye!